According to the OECD survey in 2014, Korean average student outscored than the OECD average student in math, reading, and science. And also, usually Korean work more than 300 hours than the OECD average countries. It is true that we are one of the smartest and most diligent students over the world. And there is another top-ranked index we've been leading recent 10 years, which is suicide. Korea has been #1 top suiciding country in recent 10 years, and we outnumber the OECD country's average suiciding rate more than double. And in Korea, a single suicide happens every 37 minutes, which is insane. So one question comes to our mind. Why? Why this tragedy happens although we work hard and study hard? And I was able to conclude the reason. I think this is because we are experiencing an identical crisis. We don't think about ourselves and our satisfaction and our achievement, and we usually follow and imitate others, and even sometimes we borrow the standard or viewpoint to judge our life is happy or not from the others. Let me take some examples. Yes, we all studied hard to enter Sogang. And we are still study hard to get an A+. And we will study hard for entering Samsung. But why? Why do we have to study so hard and work hard although we got so many stresses like this? Maybe the general Korean student will reply like this. Because our teacher said Sogang is great university. And grade is important to get a good job. And my parents expect me to enter Samsung. We were growing up with being pushed and pressured by others all the time. We don't think about ourselves, and we always trying to borrow this standard to judge our life, whether happy or not, from the others. This is a really big problem because we are different from others. Your value, which determines your happiness, is different from the other people's value, which determine their happiness. Because of these identical crises, I think Koreans are usually unsatisfied and feel frustrated, although we work hard and study hard. So, how can you fix this unfortunate situation? My suggestion is to listen your own voice. I want to share my personal experience. It was 2014 spring semester. So it was 2013 spring semester. I was in the middle of the final exam, and I'm really concerned about it, and I was really stressed about my GPA because I heard that it's important. So one day, middle of the final term, I suddenly woke up at 4 a.m. with throwing up so hard, and I kept throwing up again and again, and finally my hands and feet began to be paralyzed. So I had to call 911 by myself, and I was hospitalized in Sinchon Hospital. During the time in hospital, I asked about myself, why did I have to study a lot like this? Why do I have to get stressed like this? Why? But to be honest, I couldn't find the answer from myself. I was relying on the other people's evaluation or other people's advice. I got so many stresses because of others, not from me. So, after this experience, I learned one lesson. And lesson was simple. My life is mine. So my life should be evaluated and judged by me, not from the others. So how this experience and lesson changed my life? As you guys can see, I'm much happier than I used to be. Yes, I'm happy. And I want to share one another story. I have an interview, and I'm waiting for the interview from the Lotte department store next week, where I really want to work for. And it is true that there are a lot of friends who keep telling me that why don't you apply for like Shinsegae or Hyundai department store because they pay more. But I try to not to listen to them, and I don't care anymore because after that experience, I realized that the fact that I'm happy and I'm excited to have an interview is much more important than the other people's judgment or evaluation. So I can assure you guys that from my actual experience that if you guys listen to your voice first from the others, you guys will be much happier than you were used to be. I want to end my speech with a quote from one of the famous philosophers in the world, Leo Tolstoy. If you want to be happy, be happy. It's simple. If you want to be happy, just be happy. It is you who live your life, not your parents, not your family, not your friend or anybody. It is you who deserve to judge and evaluate your life, not others. And it is you who can make yourself happy. Do not let others judge or evaluate and ruin your life. Believe your voice, relieve your stress from the others, and achieve more happiness.